Okay, so firstly, we want to recognize our team, which I think is one of the most important things of what we do and how we do it. We couldn't be here without you, and we want to thank everyone that works with us.
It's family-based, and we're relatively loose in our organization because we have a combination of employees and consultants from the balance of industry, but we have a number of very long-term employees, and we've acquired more with Dundee, and we want to put it all together and work forward to build a company. Why Ontario? We believe that there's a lot of potential in Ontario. This is being discussed today. We have longer reserve life than someplace else. It just seems like the oil is there. Like you look at our Beecher pool, it just produces and doesn't go. The declines are very low. We should have a premium pricing. We have, as you know, some problems with that recently, but we do have a premium pricing. It's just had some ups and downs lately. We're at market. That's why we should have premium pricing. That will be one of our initiatives going forward, is to get a better pricing for our gas. And we have potential. We've discussed that. Ian discussed that today. And with technologies, new technologies for exploitation of resources or the compressed air energy storage, I think that we can be profitable and sustainable in Ontario.
And we've been looking a lot at doing some direct sales as well to try to get the prices up to be sustainable. And we've been obviously consolidating is something that we see cut costs and bring it all together, which is something that we see as being beneficial going forward.
Okay, why us? Third generation, we're local, committed to Ontario. We're not going anywhere, which means that we need to meet our plugging obligations and we need to be viable because we're committed to Ontario. Experienced team, we have sometimes too much experience. We're trying to bring younger people in, but you have to have a viable company to bring people in, and we are doing that. I've got, 3 children involved right now, so. Integrated. It's being integrated that has allowed us to get through the last 5 years, which has been very difficult. We have our core staff. We had our core staff at Eastern that can plug wells. We did plugging for the MNRF, and we did plugging for First Nations when times were tight, and that's how we made it through. It allows us to be have lower overhead and administration costs. And the field is very important to us, and operations is very important to us. And for that reason, we probably have less overhead than we should, and puts pressure on people, but dedicated to growth through exploitation and the drill bit. We have drilled in the past. We have not for the last 4 years because we feel that it's times change. There were a lot of good deals in the industry for purchasing in the last 4 years, and that's what we concentrated on. And throughout all the time, all the downturn, we continued to plug. Why? Because we have employees who are important to us that we kept busy. So even if things were tight and cash flow was tight, we'd plug. Okay, here's our mission statement. To consolidate the industry, we identified as being a more profitable way and sustainable in the past, and we have done that over the past 10 years maybe. Reliable energy while respecting safety. We've spoken about the employees, and I guess nimble, responsive, entrepreneurial. We are open to new ideas. We are, renewables, energy storage.
Yeah, and we welcome new ideas, and we have a meeting every Monday morning with our group where we talk about, where are we going from here? We go through anything that is underway at present and are looking for ideas, and we're always looking for that. And I think that's one of
We want to be responsive and reasonably nimble. Okay,
so just as a list of some acquisitions. So we've been growing through, obviously, organic growth with drilling, which we've done not super recently, but 7 years ago, I think we drilled a bunch of wells into the Cambrian in our patent pool, but we've also made, obviously, some acquisitions. These are the list to consolidate, which helps us, obviously, with cost savings, but also to Yeah, to keep, well, I think geographically, a lot of these places, like there's a map of our pools, and a lot of them that we've acquired are right close to other ones that we've had, and we can share operators and we can make sure that the production is managed well and efficiently. Right now, after the acquisition, which closed on November 16th, we've got about 82 employees.
In the summer. Yeah.
And numerous consultants that we talked about before. That's our production. We're producing in all formations in Ontario, and we're like throughout southwestern Ontario, we've got reasonably diverse operations, and it's been working well so far. I mean, the acquisition was a little bit difficult. Mom will speak to it later, but it was like bumpy, but we're getting on to things, and I think it's been good. Those are the offtake sites of the lake gas, and we're looking to reconfigure some of these to make our operations more efficient, depending on where our direct sales are. Like we're selling to a medical marijuana facility, and we're looking at some other ones that this may affect the way that we do things, but we're trying to, look at our business in different capacities, like, selling gas for more money, finding ways to cut costs, and we've got some political initiatives like municipal tax, pipeline tax kind of issues that we're dealing with politically, and we're going back to the OEB for that, as well as managing our plugging obligations and re-examining some of our seismic to look at if there are any potential pools that we want to explore further.
We're consolidating our operations, and I think we'll probably end up with Lagasco and Eastern on the operating side. I've spoken to what we do in Eastern. When I said we plug wells, etc., we have 3 drilling rigs at the moment. We want to go to one cable tool, so that has been active for years, and the Dundee acquired rig and a rig that we had previously. So you can tell that we value drilling, because we've done it for years, just not in the downturn. But we would like to start again. And these are all the capabilities that I think allows us to produce on a more cost-effective basis. Pick some pictures of the equipment. Yeah. Okay.
Our group is involved obviously in the oil and gas, but we're also involved in other renewable projects. We are doing what we've previously in the past developed a wind project in Port Dover, Nanticoke, but we're also working on tidal power in Nova Scotia. We've got a contracted project with a power purchase agreement with the Nova Scotia government for 15-year PPA at 53 cents, which these are pictures of the rendering of what the turbine-mounted platform will look like. It's a semi-submersible. So we're working on that. We're working on some energy storage, which we've heard a fair amount about this afternoon, in depleted natural gas reservoirs. And Peter Budd is sort of leading the charge on this one, but we've got the Bayfield pool, which has been approved for gas storage by the Ontario Energy Board, and that's one that we're looking at converting to air storage. Not that there's a lot that has to be done to convert it, but we're doing the engineering studies and we're looking to find out a regime that will make sense to move forward on that. So we're trying to not just do the oil and gas, but of course integrate around the energy industry in general. And this is a slide that Peter put together with the facilities. It's Sigma Energy Storage was the one that was doing the above ground facilities, and we, with Jim's help and Scott and a lot of our team, are working on the below ground, like what needs to be done, how many wells, how to make it the deliverability appropriate.
But the reason we got into these areas is because of the synergies with our business. It's all project management, and we want to be a project management based team. So, you take a project, put someone in charge of it, and away you go. Dundee, we're just going to go through the events. we identified the opportunity in 2016 and actually spoke to Dundee about it, and I mentioned it today to the minister because we saw a problem for Ontario in that if the lake collapses and you have all of those wells, the government's going to be plugging them and the government can't plug them as well. Now, this isn't one of the ideas that we've taken forward. We addressed then, and that's a better pricing for natural gas because we are at market, whether it be a government contract or right now we're selling to American for a couple dollars more than Dawn, because there's a huge spread between what the customers are getting and what we are getting. And we should have a better price for our Ontario production. That's something that we will push in the future. Anyway, this just briefly goes through it. It was a very long bidding process. It was, I don't even want to go through it.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
Because we had 2 bids in 2017, and then they decided not to sell the assets. And then the bank came in and said, yes, you're selling the assets, and it went back up for a bid. And the assets throughout the process were profitable, which I think is why it took them so long to sell them, because they were making money on the way through. And in the end, but the people in this industry lost, because in August 17, Eastern lost a bunch of money, as did a number of suppliers when they went into bankruptcy. We were approved as a purchaser in June of 18, and then had problems. We were working with McLeod Energy. 3 days before we closed, our main finance company Pace Credit Union went into receivership. We had to start all over again. We managed to finance it, and what we've learned is, Jen?
Don't give up. That was a big lesson for me because I would have given up 5 times over and Mom just wouldn't. Importance of the team, like we did stick together. It wasn't easy. I was at work 5 days after having my daughter, and we all just stuck together, put our heads together and bore down. And I thought, first when McLeod went away and we couldn't sell some assets to them, I thought we were done. Then when Pace went away, I thought for sure we were done because we had that financing lined up from February, and this is in September. But we made it through, and I'm still a little bit shocked, to be honest. But importance of long-standing relationships. The new finance company came through a friend of ours at Rob McLeese through Peter Budd. He introduced us to IAM, which are a pension fund lender, prime debt lender, and they rallied. It was the fastest financing they've ever closed, and it happened, and it was really amazing, actually. Be flexible. We had to be, or we would have had real problems, and that was your quote, Mom. Rise early, work hard, and strike oil. We're still working on all of that.
But the importance of the financing is very important, and we now have a pension fund behind us that want to do more deals with us, and it's a long-term source of capital.
And that understand oil and gas, which
Yes.
we've found is very difficult to find banks or finance companies that get oil and gas and the intricacies that come with it. So.
Okay. Our one-year plan is just to get organized. Put an incentive program in place. We would like to do some joint ventures, especially since we have a drilling rig. We have people, we've hired a couple of Dundee people that are usually on the plugging rig that could run the drilling rig. And I also found out we got a whole bunch of pipe, enough to drill about 4 holes. So we're ready.
We've also put a few plays together. We've got one into an existing pool and others that we've got a good land position on a few, so we're organized in that front.
So we plan to be active in the industry. We plan to exploit the assets by finding, for instance, Beecher, there could be other opportunities with horizontal drilling, and we welcome ideas, suggestions. We want to be sustainable, so we've got to get everything in order first. But here's really the message. We're open for business. If you have joint venture suggestions, bring them to us. And we have a very large land and seismic base now, and we're willing to do deals. That's it.
Yeah, and my siblings and I want to work here for a while, so we need to discover more oil and gas to keep us going.
We're not, we don't sit still.
No.